I have two cars here. One is blue and the other is blue, but one of them has two tones on it. So it's blue with a sheen of orange. I want to show you how to get this two-tone color on here, this orange. Now, I specifically chose blue and orange because when you combine them, you get pink. So a lot of the tutorials that might show you how to get this started don't actually give you all the colors that you were hoping to get. So I want to make sure that the oranges still stand out like they do in this case. All right, so let's bring our test car into focus, and I just have a standard lit shader from URP using Unity 2021.3, the LTS version. All right, to begin with, I'm going to go down to our fragment and our base color, and you can see it's blue right now, blue as we see here, and it's just always blue. I'm going to change that to yellow just to show the setup. And so we can see that now that I saved it, the car in the scene is yellow. I like to have the little scene here so I can see the changes right away. All right, so now what's going to give us this effect is primarily Fresnel. We need to fine-tune it beyond what Fresnel does, but Fresnel is going to give us basically a change of color based on what angle that spot of the car is. So closer to 90 degrees facing away from you, the more it will show white, and black will be the colors or the faces that are pointing at you. So I chose something between 4 and 6. Those ranges usually tend to work out pretty well. So let's save and return to the scene just so you can see this right away. And now I've got a black car with a white sheen. That's already pretty cool, but it's only black and white. Let's give it some color. I've got two colors in here. I've got the sheen color, and the white on this, the white that shows up inside of here, that is the sheen. So I want to multiply the sheen color by the Fresnel effect, the white edges, and that will give us that'll make the color of that edge match the color that I have here. So multiply and drag in this one to the other one. So now we have an orange circle or orange sphere here. We're going to drag the output so it now gets the fragment base color comes from this node instead. And let's save it, return to the scene view, and again, this also looks pretty nice. We can change the color here. So if I were to drag in this, we could just dynamically change the colors to any other color that we want for our highlights. However, I'm going to keep it around orange, because again, I want to make sure that I'm not getting a concentration of pink out of this. Now we need to get the second color. So that's the paint color. I'm going to drag that down to here. I'm going to put that into, let's say right here, and add. We're going to add this blue color. We'll take that as the base color, and we'll add our Fresnel effect so we get the blue with the different color edge. And we're going to drag its output so the base color for the fragment comes from here instead. All right, now let's save this and go back to the scene. And we certainly do have two different colors here. What are they? Well, obviously it's blue and pink, but we don't have blue and pink as our colors. We have blue and orange. So what do we need to do to get those colors to actually line up with what we want so we don't just end up with highlights of aqua, white, and pink? All right, so let's go back over to here. We got to get that orange out of here, or show the orange. To begin with, anytime that we add blue and orange together, we're going to get pink out of it. Pink to white, yellow and blue becomes white. All right, so anyway, how do we do that? We need to make sure we're not actually adding these together. So what I want to do is take a negative of this image. So I'm going to do 1 minus. 1 minus is what gives us a negative of a texture. I'm going to put in, oh yeah, so now that I've got this one, the paint color is now going to multiply by this. And that color will get passed into here, and this output will go into this. Now that has a little bit more of an orange edge to this. I'm going to shrink this down, grab this stuff, and drag it backwards a little bit so that's a little easier to see. And let's click that and maybe put that there, and good, that's reasonable enough. All right, so let's save this. Go back to the scene, and now we should get orange tones out of this. Oh, yeah, we're not going to get quite orange tones because this is actually a yellow, so let's go back to orange. All right, so we are getting orange out of the edges. There's a little bit of orange here and back here. You can see through the glass and down here at the bottoms, but most of the sheen is pink. So we're still getting a primarily pink sheen when we're just sticking with the Fresnel effect as our primary source of effect for this. However, we can improve this. Let's drag the Fresnel effect back, and what we want to do is widen up the white border where the orange really shows, and then increase the black as well. We basically want this gradient between the two to diminish. We want less gradient there. So how do we do that? So what I'm going to do is drag, well, first off, I guess let's just double click here. So I've got a node element and switch that off to here. So this is mapped to go to here and then split out. It's another way to organize that. Now I'm going to drag this over here and we're going to go to, smooth step. So smooth step initially looks like the same value. It's effectively a clamp where you have 0 on one range and 1 on the other, and anything outside of those ranges will get stuck to the 0 and 1. So it doesn't go any higher or lower. Now, to get a better effect out of this, I want to widen up this white edge. So while this is a gradient coming in, what I can do is basically just say 0.5. If I put 0.5 here, what actually happened is anything on that gradient that came through as 0.5 to 1 actually just became 1 now. And then the numbers were scaled so that the gradient starts basically at 0.5 to give us our 1 value. All right, so I can save this, and this is effectively all we need to do. We can give these different edges, so I can go down to like, say 4. I can increase that so we have more solid blue tones. But I find that 4 to 5 in the smooth step tends to work pretty well. You can, of course, expose these and tweak them as you wish, but now we obviously have a blue car with an orange sheen to it. Yes, there are still pinks that are there, but that's what happens when you're combining orange and blue. All right, hope you found this useful.